Okay, so we are moving to the next little unit or next little lesson. It's the same idea that we were just doing with adding of linear expressions, but now we're going to be subtracting them. And so we just have to look at it just slightly different, okay? All right, so let's look at the first little example here. So the Diatrod is a dog sledding race over 1,150 miles across Alaska. The table shows 2 winning times. Okay, so in race 1, it took 9 days, 11 hours, 46 minutes, and 48 seconds. Race 2, 9 days, 5 hours, 8 minutes, and 41 seconds. We want to know what is the difference in hours, minutes, and seconds between the 2 races. Okay, so they don't have a difference in days. 9 and 9, there's no difference. But here we have a difference, right? 11 take away 5, there's a difference of 6 hours. 46 take away 8, oh, we need to borrow. So we get 38 minutes. And again, we need to subtract, and so we get 7 seconds. So difference tells us to subtract. Okay. Explain how you can find the difference in times between any 2 races given the days, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. Well, what do? We just subtract. So to find the difference, we subtract the numbers. As simple as that. Okay, but if you notice, right, we had to subtract the things that were the same. So hours compared to hours, minutes compared to minutes, seconds compared to seconds. Okay. All right, so here they give us some examples. So in subtracting linear expressions, subtract like terms, use 0 pairs if needed. We'll look at that, okay? So here we have 6x plus 3. So we have 6 x's and 3. And then we want to subtract 2 x's and subtract 2 positives, right? This tells us to subtract this and subtract that. So you can see that they've done that, right? They've subtracted 2 x's, they've subtracted 2 positives, and then write out what is left. So we have 4 x's left and 1 positive left, giving us our solution of 4x plus 1. Okay, take a look here. We are given 2x minus 3, so 2 x's and 3 negatives. And then it tells us to subtract 1x and subtract 2 negatives. So subtract 1x, subtract 2 negatives, leaving us what is left, 1x and 1 negative. So our answer is 1x minus a negative. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we have 5 x's minus 9. And then it tells us to subtract 2 x's and subtract a negative 7. Subtract a negative. What does that mean to subtract a negative? Well, 2 negatives make positive. 2 negatives make a positive. So we're really going to be adding 7. Okay? So 5x minus 2x gives us 3 x's. And then negative 9 and a positive 7, we subtract and get a negative 2. Why? Because 9 is bigger. So 3x minus 2. Okay? Let's look at B. So we're given 6x minus 10. And then we are told we're going to subtract a -2, or subtract 2x. And then we're going to subtract a -8. So we're going to subtract a -8. Okay, so remember, two negatives make a positive. So now, 6 take away 2, that's 4 x's. And a -10 and a +8 leaves us with a -2. So this is the part right here where we have to do a little bit of thinking when we're subtracting negatives, okay? But it's the same idea as the last lesson. All right, let me get the other page. Okay. All right, so we have 2x plus 4, and then what does this say? We're going to subtract a -x. So we're going to subtract a -x, and we're going to subtract a +5. Okay. Uh-oh, I got a double negative again. So two negatives make a positive. So this is actually telling me to go 2x plus x. So that means I have 3 x's. Okay. And then over here, I've got 4 positives and 5 negatives, which leaves me with a -1. So 3x minus 1, right? Because opposite sides tell us to subtract. Okay, so we have 6x plus 9. And then what does the second part say? It says to take away 7 x's and take away a -1. Okay, so first thing I notice, I have a double negative. So let's turn that into a positive. And now let's ready to do our work. Okay, so I've got 6 x's and 7 negatives. So 7's bigger, so I'm left with a -x, right? Because we're subtracting, so 7 take away 6 is 1. And then over here, I've got 9 positives, and now I have 1 positive as well, because that changed to a positive. So now I have a total of 10 positives. So -x plus 10. Okay. The number of runs scored by the home team at a baseball game is represented by x plus 7. Okay, these were runs scored. The number of runs scored by the visiting team is 3x minus 7. Write an expression to find out how many more runs the home team scored than the visiting team. Okay, so x plus 7 minus, because we want difference, how many more is our difference? Or the other word that means is to subtract. 3x minus 7. Okay. All right, so I have x plus 7. And then what does this tell me to do? This tells me to take away 3 x's and then take away a -7. All right, well, t-chart, positive x, -3x. So I get a -2x. I've got a double negative. So 7 plus 7 is 14. Okay? So -2x plus 14. All right, but then it says, well, what if x was 6? So what if x was 6? So let's figure that out. So -2 times 6 plus 14. So -2 times 6, that's -12 plus 14. If I need a t-chart, subtract, and I get 2. So how many more games did the home team win? 2. Okay, so this is 2. So pretty simple. Okay, do a couple more, and then you'll be ready for your assignment. Alrighty, so remember, start with the first one. So 9x plus 5, and then do what it says for the second one. So this tells us to subtract a 4x and subtract a 3. Okay, well, 9 take away 4, that's 5x. 5 take away 3, that's a positive 2. And always use your T-chart if you need it. Okay, let's look at the next one. Start with what you have. That's the first one. And then do what it says for the second one. So this tells me to subtract x and subtract a negative 5. Okay. So again, if you need your T-chart, I got 2 negative x's. A double negative tells me to add. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to do one more. I'm going to come down here to this trapezoid. Okay, so it says the perimeter of the garden is shown as 6x plus 2. So that's the whole thing, the perimeter. Remember, perimeter means to add all sides. Okay. So if we were to take this as, okay, 3x plus 1 plus x plus x plus question mark equals 6x plus 2. Okay, so all 4 sides have to equal your perimeter. Well, we don't know one of the sides. We're missing it, right? We're missing that question mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms and then subtract to find that missing piece. So we're going to combine these like terms. So 3x, x, and x. So I've got 5x's plus 1 plus that question mark still needs to equal 6x plus 2. Oops, my marker is fading. Okay. Now we're ready to subtract to find our answer. So I'm going to subtract this 5x plus 1. So I'm going to subtract 5x, and I'm going to subtract 1. So 6 take away 5, that leaves me with 1x. And 2 take away 1, that leaves me with a positive 1. So this missing side right here is x plus 1. Okay. Try your hardest on all your assignments, and I'll see you next week. If you need to stop by and get help, make sure you come to office hours. All right, bye.